What do we know about Thailand's COVID countermeasures now?
Yeah, well, Thailand flirted with quarantine-free travel, but after a month it suspended it when Omicron reached these shores. Now, at the time, the Ministry of Health were warning people could expect a minimum of 10,000 Omicron cases a day, maybe 30,000 cases a day if things didn't go too well. In fact, it's turned out that new daily infections are averaging between 6 and 8,000. So that's better than even the best case scenario put forward by the Health Ministry. Now, that has prompted the Thai government to take this step of reintroducing quarantine-free travel from today, February the 1st. There, of course, are still a few rules and conditions that have to be met, but the most significant is that as well as having to take a COVID test on arrival, new visitors will have to take a further additional COVID test on day 5. That's so that they can keep an eye on things and hope that there's no infection developing while they're here. The government hopes this will be enough to tempt back huge numbers of foreign travellers. Thailand, of course, desperately needs them for income. Some people are still not convinced, notably the Association of Thai Travel Agents. They say this alone won't be enough. Thailand should also introduce travel bubbles with a number of countries, particularly its close neighbours in Asia. That will allow completely bureaucracy-free travel backwards and forwards. There's no plan to do that, but that is something that people are calling for. Meanwhile, the Sandbox program, you may remember the first one was the Phuket Sandbox, which was launched in July last year. That was where tourists didn't have to quarantine, but they had to stay on the island for the first week. That's now being extended again. From today, there are now a dozen different destinations around Thailand where you can go, and as long as you stay in the local area for the first week of your holiday, that does away with a lot of the rules and regulations. Just one point to note, in tandem with this easing of restrictions, the Thai government is warning they're going to be tough on anybody who breaks the rules. During the last period of quarantine-free travel, there was a small number of foreign tourists who skipped their hotels without waiting for the results of their COVID tests. Some of those tests later came back positive. Now, all of those errant tourists were actually tracked down, arrested and put before the courts here. And the government is warning that will be the fate of anybody who doesn't follow these new rules if they come here in the future.